Last month, our friend Paul began telling us a story that he said had possibly 10 parts, which should last us a while, and which would make a grown man cry. That was part 1 last month, so this month we've got part 2, and I can't wait to see how it ends.
Okay, last month I started telling a story, and I didn't maybe take into account what that would involve and what the consequences of that would be. So I have actually recorded part 2, and there's every chance that you're actually watching that right now. And this message is just like deleted data on a hard drive somewhere, that just a waste of time. But maybe you're watching this instead, in which case I apologise now. So I started telling a story, and what I know and what you don't know is that story is actually, like, when I've told it to people in the past, I don't think I've ever told it in less than an hour. And sometimes the best times I've told it, it's taken like it's taken, a whole evening to tell that story. The reason being, when you tell a story and you're with your friends and you're with good people, they start interjecting, coming in with their own jokes, their own little sub-stories, their own questions about what was going on. And that's the best way to tell a story. This is not the best way to tell a story. Apologies to anyone tonight who's decided to use this to tell a story. I'm sure it's great. But for me, it's not. So, yeah, what I'd much rather do is be in a pub with you, telling you the story to your face. And I can't do that. And I don't mean as part of a set or an act for open mic night. I just want to be sitting around a table with you, with no 10-minute limit on that, just telling you a story and letting you join in and enjoying it. Because, and apologies if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Apologies if you weren't watching last month and but that kind of shows another massive flaw in this plan, is that anybody who misses one instalment of this story, which all of you will at some point, is going to pick up the story going, what the fuck is he talking about? And also, I realise this is just going to be a bitter little pill that I have to take every month. Because it's not, it's an up and down story. It's like an emotional roller coaster. And yeah, the second part, which I just recorded, it wasn't very entertaining for Friday night. This also is not very entertaining for Friday night. But what can you do? Why you do? And on a wider scale, the idea of spending month after month telling you a story that nobody knows when it's going to end, when we're in a lockdown that's going on month after month and nobody knows when that's going to end, it's just a little bit too, whatever the word is. I'm kind of lost for words today. I'm just not feeling it today. So those are some of the reasons why I'm not going to tell you the story. It's not that I don't want to, it's just I don't want to tell you in this way. I want to be with you. I want to be drinking a beer and not some herbal tea. I want to be telling you this on a Friday night, not on the Wednesday morning that it is now, pretending it's Friday night. It's just I don't know. So yeah, so I've got nothing. So what I thought, like in the 10 minutes between recording the story that I'm not going to show you and recording this, I thought, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to tell you that I don't want to do it anymore. And I remembered I did promise to do something ages ago. Because I've told a lot of stories over open mics, and people have always, or some people have come up to me after and gone, oh my God, I can't believe that really happened. Or, did that really happen? Or, that never really happened. And I promised a couple of you, maybe you're not even watching tonight, but I did promise a couple of you that one night I would do a big reveal, tell you, which stories are true and which were not. So, with 4 minutes left, let's go through that, and then you can go back to listening to whatever else everyone else has got planned. So, apologies again if this is your first open mic, or if you've never seen me do anything before. Again, this is going to mean nothing. This is going to be completely irrelevant. But that's the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. That's what we're stuck with. So, last month I told you a story about flying to England on Christmas Eve and finding the police waiting for me as I got off the plane. That story is completely 100% true, and I hope one day we'll get to the end of it. The last live open mic night we did, I told you, the last two, I actually told you about one day over 2 months. I told you about one day that stuck in my mind when I moved into a new flat. And I found there were things that people didn't believe. I found an empty pair of underpants on the street in Portsmouth. That was true. I got to Brno a few months later, found a full pair of underpants on the pavement. That was also true. While after walking past the underpants, walking to the flat, I saw a woman leaning out of her apartment window with a man behind her having sex with her. And nobody seemed to find that very weird when I told that story. So, I did, but you didn't. So you're probably not going to be surprised to learn that was also true. What else was true? So the third thing about that kind of trilogy of little stories of things that happened that day was the Kartachek thing. And I probably won't go into any more detail in that because I've had comments. I've had a lot of feedback about that story. The old, and Kartachek going like that, me going like that. That was 100% true. Also, what other stories do we have? The song I wrote, the haunting ballad that I wrote to my ex-girlfriend soon after we split up. A haunting ballad, the most beautiful song I've ever written, entitled "I Wouldn't Piss Down Your Throat If Your Lungs Were on Fire." No, it didn't happen. Obviously, it's no surprise to learn that I have been dumped several times throughout my life. But the story I told then, and the song doesn't exist, I'm sorry. What else was there? There was pissing in my housemate's washing machine. True, happened. His mum then coming and cleaning our kitchen and using the washing machine to clean the tea towels, which she then used to clean the teacups, which I was then drinking a cup of tea out of. That happened. That was true. Still taste. Well, I couldn't take. What else was there? Shitting in a lunchbox. That people still ask me about that one. Okay, true story. To an extent, that was actually a 30-second story that a friend of mine told me happened to him in a pub. He didn't shit in a lunchbox in a pub, but he told me the story in a pub. And it was just a very short story about something that happened, and he was embarrassed about it, which I then managed to spin out into a 15-minute epic where I quite enjoyed disgusting everybody in the pub. But it didn't happen to me. I nicked that. And I've got 20 seconds to tell you about what was it? The wheelchair, the woman in the wheelchair at the gig. I was on stage, looked up, saw a wheel, thought it was a BMX, and I said, "You're going to do any stunts on that?" And I'm out of time. So you'll never know if that was true or not.